Hello, welcome back to Bookkeepers Bootcamp. Hi Joe, how are you?
I am so good. It's a very busy day, but I'm absolutely loving it. I'm buzzing. Really good.
You just come off of you were doing something with Go Proposal this morning, weren't you?
Yeah, I've done Go Proposal. I've done a cash flow meeting. I've registered someone for VAT, and then I've just done a discovery call. And now I'm back again. I've had a busy day.
Oh, it's good to see you. And thanks everyone for joining. Let us know if you're here live or if you're watching the replay in the future. Let us know that too. We are really excited to be joined by Sophie Davis from Raise the Bar. Hi, Sophie. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thanks for jumping on. So we did a little call out in our community of bookkeepers and accountants, and we said who'd love to have a chat with us during bootcamp. You were one of the first people, Sophie, to say, yeah, I'll do it. So we're really excited to have a chat today. Do you want to start by telling us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, sure. So firstly, I realised that I have cut my hair and gone blonde since my photo, and I'm in the process of changing my name from Jones to Davis. So hopefully people know who I am.
You've got many identities at the moment.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm Sophie. I started my business in March this year. So I run Raise the Bar Financial Management, but I also do that alongside a part-time finance director role, which is kind of one of the reasons I said, oh yeah, I'll come and talk to you, because I know when I first looked at six-figure bookkeeper group and kind of joined in and came to boot camps, etc., I was still in my corporate career and thinking about making that move, and I've kind of gone down this hybrid route. So I thought, I know that there'll be other people who are thinking of making the move or wanting to do a bit of both, and so yeah, kind of happy to share my experience on that.
So what do you do in your day job, and what do you do with your business?
Yeah, so I left my corporate career at the back end of last year. So I had done kind of 16 years in FTSE 100, so big business. Obviously, this is quite a change from that, and I loved it. I worked for some great companies and did some really good roles, but kind of knew that long term a corporate career kind of didn't fit with the vision I had for kind of my life and the kind of flexibility and control that I wanted over my time, and kind of wanted to make a bit of a move. So kind of started thinking about making some changes to kind of build my life the way I wanted it, basically. And I'd always wanted to do something on my own, and then I'd also thought a long time about kind of leaving big corporate world and getting more breadth in a FD role for a smaller business. So I was quite undecided, and I ended up going for a part-time FD role. So I do 2 days a week as finance director for a profit for purpose hospitality company, who are doing really good things. It's a really nice company to work for. They very much had, so I went in, they have a finance team, so they have people doing their bookkeeping, and they have someone overseeing finances. So they were like, our finances work, but we're lacking the strategic support to move the business on and make decisions and plan for the future effectively. And so that's the gap that I fill, which is kind of perfect for me and from my background, etc. And it's 2 days a week, so it was ideal, and really enjoying that. So I started that in February. So do that 2 days a week, which then gives me 2 days a week where I can then do my own thing, and then I have my son on Fridays, which is my most exhausting day of the week.
Tell me about it. I have on a Monday.
I am finished by Friday night. Yeah.
I love this. So one of the things you said was having like that flexibility, or you said the control over your life and your time. And I think that's like so important to notice, that we can have that. Like you can choose that, but you have to decide from that point, well, this is what I want things to look like for me now. So you've chosen to have this role, this part-time role, which gives you loads of amazing experience, which I guess you can then transfer onto your, like what you're doing with your customers, which we can talk about, but also the freedom to be entrepreneurial and build something that's for you and design that how you want it to be. What's your goal? Like, how has the business built up since you started in January? What does the business part of it look like at the moment?
Yeah, so I started in March on the business side of it. So I did the looking for a role first. So if I just back up a little bit, like I actually had quite a mindset block around starting the business and kind of knowing that I would most likely do the kind of FD advisory work because that is more my background and my skill set. But I had this, even though I thought I could do the actual work, I had this block around marketing myself as an FD advisor when I wasn't. And for me, it has therefore been really good to kind of do both. And I don't think you need to do that. It's something that I had to get over because I was confident in my skill set, but just not in I just couldn't market and communicate myself in that way. So I feel like it's worked really well doing the two. That said, so I focused on getting the experience first. Oh, I guess also because I was moving big to small, I also didn't have that experience. I think if you've got the hands-on day-to-day experience of working with small businesses, you'll feel a lot more confident about that. But I was just like, this feels like too big a jump in a way, going big to small and marketing myself as something that I'm not. So it's kind of bridged that gap for me, which has been really good. I then massively procrastinated around the actual getting my license. So I'm a SEMA member. And I mean, the SEMA member in practice process, like, massively put me off. Just the whole process, right? Like understanding all the AML stuff. And I mean, that is one of the things I kind of tapped into the group around, because I think I joined the success program by then as well, and I definitely searched the group to get all the knowledge and info on how to do that. And I was in the process of changing my married name over, and I had an issue with not being able to verify my identity. So there was like loads of problems. So I procrastinated for ages, and I started in March this year. So haven't been going that long. And in terms of what I've done so far, so I basically just decided that I would not make a big plan, like not be regimented about what I would start doing, and I would kind of take some opportunities and kind of see where things go, and that I'll kind of work out what I want to do. So I have ended up doing kind of one big contract that is outsourced to me from another SEMA member in practice. So she does a number of transactions. So she's doing quite a lot of M&A work, so mergers and acquisitions. And then she likes to bring someone in to the business to monitor cash flow for 12 weeks and build them up a longer term forecast. So it's all things that I've done quite a lot of in the past. So I'm working on that as kind of my main project, and then picking up some other bits and pieces around that. So yeah, it's been quite, I definitely haven't had a plan of exactly what I'm going to do. I'm about to have my second baby, just to add that into the mix.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So during August. So I also didn't want to take on regular clients. So that I had to factor that in and be like, okay, I want to get going. I want to start, building this practice up, but actually I don't want to take on the regular clients, which means I need to be thinking about things when I've got a newborn. So I'm going to go down this kind of projecty, ad hoc pieces of work and see where that takes me. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Amazing. And isn't it amazing that how you're able to pick and choose what you do? And also it really sounds like you're on a journey, like a confidence journey. Like obviously you have an amazing skill set, and isn't imposter syndrome just such a pain in the bum? Because you have been working on FTSE 100 companies and like boardroom level and doing all these things, but then you're like, oh, could I help a small business?
Yeah,
could I actually do? It's funny, isn't it?
It's little things like I've never used Xero. It's things like that. Like it is just very different. And the thing that I have to remind myself, which an old boss used to drum into me, is to just always go back to kind of remember your source of your confidence. like, you don't need to know how to do everything. You just need the confidence to know that you'll be able to figure it out. And actually, that is what I've done for a lot of my career. Like, I've gone into roles where I have no idea what's going on, but I've always felt quite confident that I'll be able to work something out. And it's just remembering that again. So it's okay, yeah, I've never used Xero, but that's fine. I can pick it up. It'll be okay. So yeah, it's just...
I definitely felt like that, like doing that move from corporate. I think there'll be lots of people watching this who've been employed before and they've made the move to working with small businesses. And I'm an ACCA accountant, like that's what I've done. And I was like, do you know what? I think I'm going to go through the bookkeeping exams with the ICB so that I understand the data, like the actual transactional part of that, because I've never worked in that kind of that role, like what I was suppose I would think of as, well, the exchequer department of a big business, you know, with accounts payable and receivable, because I just haven't done that part. And I think that was what I needed to do to give me that confidence, even though when I was working through it, I was like, yeah, I know this. Oh yeah, Xero, it's a ledger. Like, you know, when you're in it, you're like, okay, I can work this out. I can find what I need. But there's something about doing what you need to do to give yourself that tick in the box, so that you can move forward. We were talking Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I completely agree. So I've done the same. I don't see myself actually offering bookkeeping because I don't like, you know, I'm going to focus more on, you know, the value that I think I can bring from my background, but I still want to know that I know how it all works, and I would recognise, you know, if something wasn't right and that kind of thing. So I've been filling in those gaps over the last few months as well, just to, like you say, just give you that boost that actually you know the bigger picture. Things like payroll, never been involved in payroll before, don't plan to offer it as a service. But I feel like now I at least know enough about how it should work, because in my employed role, I have to sign it off. I'm not doing it. I still have to sign it off, so I need to know what to look for and what to check, etc. And so I've just made sure I can fill in those gaps, but I don't need to sit and do it because I can't see myself doing payroll.
No, and
leave it to the experts.
Exactly, and you've got enough expertise in you that you don't need to go and be an expert in all these other fields. You can utilize, and I mean, and I know you're in our membership, and you see the amount of people that offer services and help each other out with their expertise. I think it's so much better to leverage someone else's, that someone really wants to do it and get their fingers in and deal with it, because that's their passion. You've obviously got your passion, and you could help other people as well with that. So I think it's really good to recognize where we have our strengths. And realize we don't have to be all things to all people. It's absolutely fine.
I think I agree. And that's so some of the little bits of work that I've done kind of outside of my main contract have been mainly with kind of other accountants who, you know, they're or bookkeepers that, you know, they know exactly what they're doing when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting, and, you know, can definitely do management accounts, or, you know, help someone with the budget or forecast, but they you know, don't necessarily have the confidence. They've just never done it before. And I've kind of partnered with a couple of people doing that. So one where actually someone just doesn't want to do it, like, okay, here you go, it's yours. And then one where actually someone wants to do it, so kind of hand holding them through it so they can do it again. And that works really well. There's always someone in the group who has those expertise that can help.
Absolutely. So, okay, so you're going to have baby, and then are you going on maternity leave with your employed role?
Yeah.
And then do you have so obviously at the moment I love the way that you're just kind of going with the flow, and at the end of the day, I mean, you've got some things that you're in control of and some things you're not in control of at the moment, and I think, you know, you're not putting that pressure on yourself to create this massive business for yourself and all these. I think it's very sensible what you're doing. But do you have a goal for your business at some point? Maybe it's not in the next year. Maybe, you know, you're going to have a newborn and, you know, things are going to be up in the air for a bit. Do you have something maybe that you know, 5 years down the line that what you envisage it to look like?
Yes, definitely. So, and actually, I do sometimes worry that, you know, I haven't kind of planned out exactly what I'm doing. And I listened to Nikki Gundy earlier, and she made me feel much better around it's okay to have a goal. And I think she called it behavioural flexibility, didn't she? Like therefore, there are lots of different ways you can potentially achieve that. And actually being flexible in how you might get there means you're actually more likely to achieve it, which definitely made me happy, because I've definitely kind of got the kind of long-term, I wouldn't say necessarily business goal, but like kind of life, like vision for my life kind of thing. And yeah, it's good to hear. There are plenty of ways that I might get there, and actually it's probably best that I'm not going, right, this is exactly how it's all going to pan out and happen. So that's good. But no, I definitely, I think, well, firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind down work by the end of July to give me a couple of weeks, hopefully, so as long as there's no kind of early arrival, a couple of weeks to plan and kind of reflect on how the first few months have gone. And do some planning. So I'm definitely going to give myself that time. I don't want to kind of stop everything over my mat leave and think I'll pick it up in a year, but I'm also want to be realistic about what I can do when I've got a newborn and a 3-year-old. So yeah, I plan to wind down and give myself that peace time. I definitely, like, my initial thoughts are, I quite like the I like advisory. Definitely think that kind of that's where my skill set lies. I don't know why I would move away from that. Like I love that stuff, and I actually think at the moment businesses need it more than ever with the situations that they're in. I mean, the guys who own the business that I'm FD for, like, you know, they don't know how they would have made some decisions over the last couple of months if they hadn't have had me in to tell them what the financial implications would be. So I think that's a really important role at the moment, and definitely one I want to pursue. So definitely want to keep that side. I have, like I said, I've actually got a few other ideas, to the point where I've kind of written ideal clients, I've written pain points, I've written bios for me that fit about 5 different things. So I definitely kind of need to think about that part of it, so which I'm happy to talk about. So there's kind of one that I'm actively pursuing. I say actively, it's early days, and I think I've set up another Instagram account. I think I've got 15 followers, but I've had 2 leads out of that, like 15 followers and 2 leads. So it definitely is worth doing. But so I'm a massive outdoors enthusiast. So I run, I cycle, we do a lot of walking, etc. I've always followed kind of outdoor businesses, kind of race companies, etc. And I actually do help organise a local trail race. So it's something that I'm quite heavily involved in. So I would like to potentially niche in that area. So I've done a couple of things I just thought over my mat leave, I'll just start talking to these businesses, and I'm not actively trying to get clients because I can't take on clients, but I'll just start answering some of their questions and kind of getting to know them, seeing kind of, you know, what's out there and whether that would be a potential. So I set up an Instagram, got like 6 posts on there, like I said, about 15 followers, but have immediately had a couple of people, like one of them would be like my ideal client. They do like running retreats in the Lake District. Like I would love to work with them. They're amazing. Contact me, and then I had another one yesterday. So that's really good. I guess it just shows that is where they hang out for starters.
You sounded really excited when you said, like, I would love to work with them. Like, I know several types of ideal client, but you've chosen to tell us about that first, and you really, like, I could see your eyes light up. Tell me, so what do you think? What's the Instagram account? So obviously we can all go and follow you. Everyone who's watching this.
I've called it Outdoor Business Collective.
Okay, and then what do you think the posts are that you've put out there that have got you 2 leads out of a few posts?
So I think it was in reaction to, I think I posted one around, actually I think they were both from, so I had 2 from there. They were both from a post that was about, I think I called it how much of your costs gone up this year? Do you even know? And then talked about kind of, how they should be looking at their cost base and potentially reacting with their pricing.
So you've really got in there with a big emotion that people have got right now about like, oh my God, how much, like I was saying last night, how much Weetabix cost? What is that about? Like, so people in their businesses are noticing the whatever it is that they're spending out on, and they're like, whoa, this, like, what do we need to change? But they don't really know. They just feel like it feels more expensive, but they don't have that insight. And they're probably like, yes, they've gone up. I don't even know how much. So maybe that is because of that. And you like really getting straight in there with, I know that I've got information that can help you.
Yeah, I do just think like if businesses don't, if they don't have an accountant, or they have an accountant though or a bookkeeper that they don't actually speak to that much, etc. Like, how are they making decisions at the moment? Are they guessing what they need to do to offset it? Like, I just feel like people need some really good information at the moment, and they need that finance support more than ever. So yeah,
I agree. Like, they're even, like all of the loans that are going to have to be repaid, and this is going to be putting extra pressure on businesses at a time where other costs are going up. And I think the idea of advisory still seems quite new. When we were talking we ran this survey in May, and we were asking people about what they're charging for advisory, and there are a lot of people that they just don't offer advisory services. And yet you're a real expert here. Like, this is the real value you can add. And I really love that you've gone, this is my skill set, this is where I really make the difference, so this is what I'm going to focus on. And you haven't let all of the other things you could be doing distract you from that, and you're going to keep that focus. It's now deciding who is it that I can help, and what's the best way for me to help those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the other thing I've done, I guess, just like, I know we talk about niching a lot, and I guess with the advisory side of it, I hadn't really thought about niche. It's more about the skill set, the service and the skill set. And actually, I'd be quite open to different businesses. But then I thought, if I'm going to try and help a group of people, like kind of these outdoor businesses are I know that I'd love to work with them and help them. So the other thing that I've done, which I think I posted in the group about a few weeks ago, when I was wondering how to approach. And so there's a Facebook group. It's a very closed Facebook group for the outdoor industry. I posted in the group, and there were a number of questions that you had to ask to even answer to get in the group. One was, what is your business? And I thought, if I try and join this group, they're just going to say, you're not an outdoor business. Like, this is for UK outdoor businesses. So I dropped the guy who runs the group. I dropped him a message and just said, this is me, this is my background. I'm not actually looking for clients, so this isn't about selling, because I'm actually not at the moment. But I'm thinking about combining my expertise down the line, and I think I could really help some of the businesses. Like, if you think this would be useful. And he was like, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'm sure there'd be questions. So he was just like, oh yeah, just come join the group. So I'm glad I did that. So he actually let me in. And there's like 400 odd people. It's not a massive group, but I'm now the person in the group for people to ask questions with. And so I've had a couple of people come to me. I mean, it's mainly people wanting me to do their tax returns, which isn't something I'm going to do, but people are picking up with me, and I guess it just shows kind of being that expert in that group. People are going to think of you and come to you. So that's been really good. So I just put an introductory post on there after I'd joined and just said, look, I'm in the group. If you've got any finance accounting questions, just tag me, and I'll pop in and answer stuff. I've had a couple, but we'll kind of see where that goes. But that's the other thing I've done. So that and my Instagram are kind of me setting myself up for potentially niching down the line.
It's so cool. And this is the power of that, being in those small, I mean, you say small group, it's 400 people, and it makes it, and what makes us like, I mean, me and Zoe were saying this, like when you post a video or like on YouTube or something, you see how many views I think, oh, that's not many. But if you had that many people standing in a village hall you'd be like, wow, loads of people have turned up to see me. And so it's the power of that leverage, isn't it, using the virtual like side of things. And I love that you went out there and just asked and put yourself forward and said, I can give some value here. And people, you know, what you're doing is you're raising your profile as well, and you're becoming this person. And the fact that you don't do tax returns and people come to you, you're going to be able to signpost them, because you're in a wonderful membership of people that you can signpost and say, I don't do this, but I can keep you, get you in contact. And actually that is part of advisory, like not always being the person to do something. I mean, talking about cost reductions, we run in our membership on Monday. I tried out this company that are linked with Xero called Reducer, and they link with other software companies too. Bookkeeping software companies, but they go in and they create a report for your clients and tell them out of the 10 different areas that they, you know, gas, electricity, broadband, waste, card payments, all of these things, they show if you can save money. Now, in this climate, it's a case, I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying, would you like us to do this, get this report sorted for you? I just instruct them, they do the work, and then they're one port of call for our clients to talk to about cost reduction. So, because somebody in the comments has asked, you know, do you need a specific insurance to offer advisory? Advisory is just like how you would advise your friend to save money in their business, how you would advise them. I've just had a discovery call with a gentleman that's a carpenter, and I said to him, how are you going to invoice? I'd really like you to have something on your phone that you could take payment, or have a card machine or something. Do not walk away without payment, or else you're going to spend so much time doing credit control. That's advisory. That's advising someone on how to run a business and make sure that the money's in their bank account and then they're not spending their time chasing unpaid invoices. That's advice. You don't need extra. And I think people assume that it's some, and obviously, Sophie, I'm not dumbing down what you know about like strategy and forecasting and all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it encompasses a lot of things. It's not just how to do an amazing forecast for a business. It is as well just saying, have you thought about this? This might really help you out.
Yeah. And actually, I haven't talked about this much, but on my Instagram, which is Diary of an FD, because I talk about stuff in my employed. I always refer to it as my paid role, as if I don't get paid for my self-employed role. I definitely get paid for both. I mean my like salaried actual job, and then my client work. I think it's one. I've again, it's early days for that Instagram, so I think I've only got about 10 posts on there. But one of them I put up earlier on is just something I put together to talk through with another accountant on getting into advisory, where it's kind of a pyramid, and you've got compliance, and then you've got operational efficiency, and then you've got commercials, and then you've got strategy at the top. And actually there are layers and so many different ways that you can do that. So but compliance is like the foundation, obviously, because you need good records, and you need that information to be there. But then there's kind of different levels depending on what a business needs at any point in time. But helping with their efficiency in operations at the moment is obviously super crucial. And people will be renegotiating commercial contracts. So the business that I work for, I mean, the price of croissants have gone up like 30%, like actually buying them in. So we've had to go and source from elsewhere, and then knowing what their margin's going to be. If they enter into some different contracts, like they needed support to know whether they were taking on a good deal, things like that. And then the strategy piece at the top, in terms of where do they want to be in 5 years' time. Like there's so many different layers to it.
I love it's like bringing the financial acumen into the team, because most people don't start a business because they love business. They don't love numbers. They love the thing. They're passionate about the thing they're going to sell, and potentially like what the opportunities are for them in terms of what money they can make. To come back to that point about what you can do, what is advisory, we just got to be really clear. We're not talking about tax advice. We're not talking about financial advice. Those are regulated. We're talking about giving business information, interpreting the data so we can support the clients with the decisions they need to make.
I am also super clear about what I will and won't advise on. So yeah, I definitely stay away from tax. And actually the Facebook group that I joined, I said up front as well, like, if I think you need to engage an accountant, I will tell you, or, you know, or someone for specific tax advice, I will tell you. So like, ask a question, that's fine. But, you know, I'm not saying I can answer everything. I'm going to direct you to where you need to go if I think you need to go elsewhere. So,
yeah.
Really clear.
I completely agree. And I know, like, you know, we wouldn't take on work that we weren't capable of doing, but just actually having the confidence to say, hey, this is not my thing, but this is my thing. But if you need this, I know someone who can be like, still give you so many like brownie points for being like, oh my goodness, thank God they know someone who can help me. So, you know, that's, I think, really helpful. I love the niche. I love that you've got the focus on the kind of business that you're, the service that you're going to offer, who potentially could be your client. I'd love to know, like, we've obviously been talking, well, we haven't talked about pricing very much, but we did a pricing survey last month. How have you felt pricing advisory services? Did you feel like you were going into it completely blind with no information?
Well, no. So I got in contact with someone who was offering Parttime FD. I think they call themselves, there's so many different names for it as well, like fractional CFO or fractional FD. Like, there's so many different words for it, but I can't even remember what he called himself. But he's another SEMA member in practice, and I spoke to him, and he works on a day rate, and he was just really open with, like, this is what I charge, and so yeah, kind of basically just asked some people and got some insight to kind of help me, because I have taken on, I am being subcontracted to from another accountant. So I'm taking a day rate, but I'm happy with, but I know I could, or if I did that work direct. So it's, and I don't know whether you want me to say what the day rate is. I mean,
no, it's fine. It's okay. I think that's really interesting because, you know, going into maternity leave and you know, obviously taking some time out of the business just shows that when you charge a day rate and you're not working, you can't earn that rate. So it's interesting to think for the future about how can I price this so that it's more about an outcome for the client and the clarity they need as on a project basis or an outcome basis. And I'm really curious about whether you've thought about that for the future.
Yes, I have. So I was going to say, so for the like big project that I'm doing where I'm being subcontracted to, it is very much on a day rate, which, like I said, I'm happy with it. But I also, because I see the accounts of the company I'm doing it for, like, I know how much the people subcontracting to me are earning. So they're making a decent margin on it as well. So I also know, therefore, how much I could charge if I did that work direct, which is interesting as well. But the little bits that I've done kind of around the side, I have, definitely tried to focus on value to the client. So one of the things is, and I posted about this in the group, asking if anybody still does management accounts in Excel. Because I built a template for someone to be able to drop a trial balance into, and it populate their management accounts. And I was like, am I going to be able to use this again? Like, now I've spent the time building it. And I think someone in the group said, when you sell that, make sure you are not thinking about how long it's taken you to put it together. Because actually, if I sell it again, it will hardly take me any time to put it together because I've done it. But it's about, actually, a client then has a ready-made template that, yes, they'll need to update the dates and prior year comparatives and budget next year, but actually they've kind of got it ready to go. So yeah, definitely trying to focus on what value that gives to the client for the other bits that I'm doing. I think that's really important.
It really is. It really is. I think that is something that we all need to remember, that it's, you know, just because something takes us 5 minutes now, it's all of the learning. The reason it only takes us 5 minutes is because of all the years of training and the experience and the times that where we might have spent 3 hours on something, but now we know how it works, and we do need to remember that. Absolutely. What I'm loving, Sophie, is when we got on just before we came live on here, me and Zoe said we don't know you very well, as in we know you're in our membership, we know you're one of our members, we don't see you often at things. And you've said, and you was explaining about how you joined the membership and how you use it. And so do you want to like let us know? I mean, you can't remember exactly how you found us, but you joined a boot camp last year, was it?
Yeah, I refer to myself as a long-time lurker. So yeah, and like it was probably a good 6 months or so 6 months to a year before I left my job, when I was obviously starting to think about what I might do next and wanting to make a change. And yeah, can't exactly remember how I found the group, but definitely, like a lot of people here, joined the boot camp sessions. But obviously, yeah, I would have been in full-time employment at that point, so I definitely would have been watching things on catch up and kind of around job, etc. And then yeah, had left my job back end of last year, and like I said, kind of focused on this kind of part-time employment and then starting to build a practice. So joined the program in January, and so obviously a lot of the startup program and everything was really helpful for me at first, just kind of knowing what I needed to do to get myself set up. And then, like I said, I hated the whole applying for my practice license thing. It really isn't that bad. And if anybody's worried about it, just message me, because I'll tell you it's not actually that bad. I definitely made it into a bigger deal than it was. You just need to chip away at it and it's fine. So yeah, please don't let that put anyone else off. Yeah, I did that. But the way I work now is, so I normally work in London, so on Mondays and Wednesdays. So at my employed FD role, they like people to be in the office. It's a small company. It's good to get everyone together, and it is nice to be in that environment. But it means, therefore, I miss a lot of the sessions, and I have my son on a Friday where there's the accountability session. So I actually can't join a lot of the sessions, but that, you know, a lot of the value is actually in the Facebook group and the support, and I still just kind of keep up to date. Like, you know, I'm always checking what's going to be on office hour on Monday. Oh, okay, yeah, that would be helpful. I'll catch up on that on Tuesday when I'm back at home, etc. And so yeah, you just kind of do it, like make it work for you, I guess. And you know, yeah, I'm on a very regimented timetable because of my job and running the business. I kind of have to stick to these times. I will say that, you know, it is only having 2 days to work on the business is challenging. Obviously, I feel like I could progress a lot quicker if I obviously wasn't in my employed role. But, you know, I guess that's my decision from a financial security perspective, and I do like the knowledge that I'm picking up from having that job as well. So that works for me. But it is just something, like, if people want to do, I know some people work full time and do their practice on the side, and I'm actually in awe of people who manage to do that. That's amazing that people do that. But yeah, you just have to do kind of what's right for you and think about your schedule and how you're going to fit everything in and make everything work.
You think there's a point where you'll know it's the tipping point for when you go all in on the business?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'll obviously have to reassess going back after maternity leave. So traveling into London twice a week when I've got 2 children is going to be challenging. I mean, I leave at 7:10. I get back at 7:10. So I see my son for half an hour maybe before and after, but it is only 2 days, and then he gets loads of my time on other days. So, you know, that's fine. You know, make that work for me. But I feel like that might be a whole different ball game when there's another one as well. So I am going to have to think about that. So I guess that might be. I will say, so it says something about my personality, but one of the things I did when I left my job was, so I built myself a model that told me exactly what I needed to earn through a business to give me the same like financial position as my corporate career. So I kind of know exactly where, because I think in June, with the work that I've done and my job, I think I will have hit that, which is really good. But it has been quite a full-on month to do that. So yeah, I guess at the point at which I think I can make more money through my business than
and it might come back to that pricing for the outcome rather than pricing for the day rate, and then leveraging other people to deliver parts of that for you. And this is something we'll carry on like talking about, isn't it? As things move, and you're going to have a lot of time to reflect when you're
exactly
late night feeds.
But I do really enjoy my employed FD role, and still feel like there's a lot I can do to help them. So it would be a difficult decision to leave it, because I feel like I'm on a bit of a journey with them as well. But then you have to do what's right for you at the end of the day. So I will assess in a year's time. I might be like, yes, I'm out of here for 2 days, up to London to live a different life for 2 days a week. So
and the other thing is that, you know, they can still access your expertise and you can still be part of them, but it may be on a different footing. It may be through your business. True. It may be sometimes a bit more on Zoom. It depends how much of the value, again, it's about the outcome and not about you physically having to be there. There might have to be some things that we weigh up and change, but it doesn't mean, a bit like what Nikki Gundy said this morning about, you know, the reaching it, there might just be a different path you take. So exactly. I think
that's true.
Just open our minds to how you can support them, and because you're obviously doing a fab job, they love you, you like it, so there are other ways that it can work, and it's exciting. And thank you for sharing that you know that you are doing this in this way. I saw somebody in the comments say, oh, you know, I love my employed role, but I felt like I shouldn't say that out loud, as if we wouldn't want you to have that. You know, we all have to do what we need to do and what we want to do. It's not just about what we need to do. It's, you know, and you're really enjoying that role and you're gaining from it. And there's an exchange. They're paying you. You've got that financial security, but you're also learning and growing, and you're in a different size of business, which you've never been in before. And and that's exactly what I was employed 2016 until I was made redundant in 2019 in an FD role. And that's what helped leverage and build this, because I learned so much in that. So we would never say to anyone, oh, you shouldn't be employed. It's not like that at all. It's as long as it's on your terms and that's what you really want. And it's not because you're procrastinating or you've got no confidence to do something yourself. It's because it's a choice. And so, thank you so much for sharing. And all of the things, I mean, you've literally got everything going on, you know. Toddler, pregnancy.
What have I done? But no, it's good.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to find out what happens next. Let us know when the baby arrives. Oh, thank you so much, Sophie, and thanks everyone for joining here and asking questions. We'll go back, and if there's anything you need our feedback on, we'll go back and comment on that too. We're back later. Oh, we're back at 3. Joe's back at 3, aren't you? At 3 o'clock, we've got a session with Go Proposal. There's a Go Proposal demo with Chris Johnson, which it will be here in the Facebook community where you're watching this, so you'll be able to see that. So come and ask your questions if you've got any. And then Joe and I are back at 8 o'clock tonight to talk through the next 2 parts of our RISE framework. We'll be giving away a prize during the call. Remember to get involved in the challenges we're running this week, because we've got more prizes, all happening. But for now, Sophie, I forgot to say, how can people connect with you and find out more about you if they want to stay in touch?
Like I said, I've got a very sparse Instagram page, but actually then that's got a link to my website as well. So that's really the best place to head. So it's Diary of an FD, which I was saying before is a bit of a random name, but it's because I talk about bits and pieces from both my role and my employed role. So it's a few posts and then some ramblings as I go to the train station on Monday and Wednesday and talk about what I'm doing that week. But it can be helpful, I guess, for other accountants and bookkeepers, because I just try and share a bit about kind of things I'm being asked and things that I'm helping clients or the business I work for with.
I think people will love to see that. So Diary of an FD, we'll go and follow you. Thank you. I thought it was a brilliant name. You mentioned it. Thank you so much, Sophie. Thanks everyone for being here. And we will see you back at 3 o'clock. See you later.
Bye. Bye.